Hello everybody and welcome to our Meet VSO Google Hangout. My name's Kate Connolly. I work at VSO in the communications team based in our office just outside of London in Kingston in the UK. I'm really happy to say that I'm joined today by Jenny Sims, who's actually just returned from Myanmar, where she was on a placement as a volunteer nurse. And when I say just returned, it is literally yesterday she got off the plane, so a very, very recent return volunteer. You may have seen in our promotion of this event that we were also hoping to be joined by a midwife named Sam Busby, who is also currently in Myanmar. Unfortunately, due to some transport issues and some weather issues, Sam has been unable to join us, which is such a shame. But obviously, if you were sort of attracted by hearing about Myanmar and obviously volunteering opportunities in general, with Jenny here, hopefully we can answer all your questions, and obviously I'll do my best. And if we need to take anything away and maybe pose it directly to Sam, we can do that offline and get back to you later. So in a moment or so, I'll just give you a very high-level overview of VSO and our volunteering opportunities. And then we'll pass to Jenny, who will be able to talk to you about what she's been doing in Myanmar, as I said, up until a couple of days ago. Following that, we'll go to a Q&A session. So you may be able to see in the top, I think it's in the top right of your screen, a kind of grid-like icon, which if you select, the Q&A function should pop up, and you should be able to pose your question in writing to us, and then either Jenny or myself would do our best to answer it. So that's the kind of running order for today. And as I said, apologies that Sam can't be with us. Due to obviously some unforeseen circumstances, she does send her apologies. So just a bit of background on VSO. So as many of you will know, we're an international development organisation. We work through volunteers. We work across Africa and Asia to fight poverty is our mission. Our programmes all focus around either health, education or livelihoods. So we have programs that, so we look to recruit professional volunteers on those programs. So obviously, as I mentioned, Jenny's with us and she was a nurse in Myanmar. We also have a program for 18 to 25-year-olds, and the objectives of the programs that they work on are the same, in that they focus on the thematic areas of education, health and livelihoods. The key difference, though, with our programme for young people, which is the International Citizen Service, is that the young people who volunteer don't need any specific skills or experience. You just need really the desire to make a difference. And if anyone has any specific questions on that, we can take those later. So that's at the very sort of highest level, VSO, in terms of what we do and the opportunities we have. As I mentioned, one key area of focus obviously is health. Jenny was obviously volunteering on a health programme, as I mentioned, in Myanmar. So we'll move over to Jenny now, who'll be able to tell you a little bit more about what she was doing there, maybe some insights into what it's really like to volunteer, and some of the highlights and difference that was made in the time you were away. So if that's okay, Jenny, and you can hear me okay, we'll go to you now.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes. So hi, I'm a paediatric nurse. I studied and lived in Oxford for 3 years before moving to London, and then I worked in a paediatric setting. And then I decided that I wanted to do a volunteer project. And so I have spent the last 9 months in Myanmar, in a place called Punulin, which is a township. And I have stayed in a township hospital that has 300 beds. And my job title has been kind of like a nurse educator. And I have been working alongside nurses, mentoring and coaching them on the ward on the neonatal unit. So in the past 9 months, I'll break it down, everything that I've done. So I started off in Mandalay, which is one of the bigger cities. And first there, I observed all the care in the neonatal unit. This is like the gold standard of neonatal care in Myanmar. And this was a really good time to build some relationships with the nurses. Good time to ask questions. We didn't know like why something was being done a certain way. And yeah, it was really good to get to know the senior consultants who were supporting our project. So then after this first month, I moved to my township hospital, and there I stayed for the next 8 months. And yeah, it was a really, really wonderful experience. I really loved living there, made some good friends and strong relationships there, and really, really enjoyed my placement. So the first thing that I did there again is to observe and assess, which can take quite a long time. So I think in total we spent about a month just observing how the ward worked and why it worked. And then after that, every month I would do a CNE session, which is like continued nursing education. So in this session, I would teach all of the nurses in the hospital. So that was about 100 nurses about a specific subject. Yeah, so I did each month I did a different subject depending on what was needed. And yeah, alongside this, to implement what I taught, I spent every day on the ward, following the ward rounds, following the care of the patients. Yeah, so if you want to know in more detail about what I've been doing, then I can tell you, but that's just an overview of my project so far. I finished just at the end of May, and yeah, at the end of the project, I did a re-evaluation of everything that I had observed in the baseline, and just assessed everything that we didn't manage to achieve or why we didn't achieve it. And yeah, and I have most of the things we managed to achieve, which was really nice. Some things were like physical things, such as putting things into the ward, changing the ward layout, and some of it is teaching, which is difficult to assess if you don't stay there for a long time. But the best way to see if the teaching is effective is when you're not there. So yeah, that's a bit difficult to assess, but that's what I'm doing. Sorry, Kate. Hello?
Great, thank you, Jenny. As I mentioned, if you want to pose your questions, please do so by the Q&A function. You can post them at any time, and we'll do our best to answer them, obviously. While we wait for questions to come in, Jenny, maybe just a couple of comments from me. And these are questions that people typically ask when we do face-to-face events. So you've obviously talked a little bit about your placement and what you were doing. In terms of, obviously what it's actually like to be away and to be working overseas, can you maybe just tell us a bit about your sort of day-to-day life in Myanmar in terms of where you were living, if you were interacting with other volunteers, what you did in your free time, etc.?
Yeah. So I can tell you a little bit about life in Myanmar. So basically every day I would spend on the ward. So from 9 till 4 every day I would go onto the ward rounds, and this would be a good opportunity to learn about the patients and the care from the doctors. And then in the afternoons I would teach small teaching sessions, or coaching, or answering questions, or leading discussions with the nurses, alongside helping them with their day-to-day care because they're extremely busy. And then outside the ward, I lived in the hospital accommodation. So I lived on hospital grounds, which was nice, really nice, to be close to work, so I didn't have to travel to work. But it was also really nice to get to know all the staff and all the nurses and all the doctors, because they all lived on the grounds as well. So you would see them in the evening, meet up for tea or go out for coffee. We went out for coffee quite a lot, which Myanmar coffee is one of the best in the world, I believe. But that was definitely really nice to make yourself feel at home, and that you're not just there just on the ward as a nurse, but actually you can have friendships outside the hospital as well.
That's great. I'm sure you had lots of nice experiences in a great country. One other point that I think viewers may be interested in, specifically if any sort of health professionals have joined, It's just in terms of what's next for you, in terms of going back to your old job. I know you mentioned to me previously, and how you organised your time away from your role that you were holding previously in the UK.
Yep, so I've been really fortunate that my job actually has stayed open for me. So when I went to them with the idea, like I want to do volunteering, I want to do this specific project where I go and teach neonatal care in Myanmar in a small hospital, and basically aim to improve the neonatal nursing, and overall the neonatal death rate was very, very high in Myanmar, and just small things such as teaching infection control or implementing hand gel for each bed cot space was going to be so important. So when I went to my job and I explained to my bosses this is what I wanted to do, they were really supportive of me, because actually going away on this trip means that I come back with more experience, which is actually beneficial to them for when I come back. So they have kept my job open for me. They put it as an unpaid career break. So I've been away for 9 months, and then I return. They're going to continue as I was before, the same position. And they were really supportive towards me, because they said the skills that I can learn in resourcefulness, but also changing and improving a neonatal ward in such a difficult situation, means that you learn the skills which can be used in this country, because as you know, as a health professional, as a nurse, you're always improving, changing things on the ward, which can be a challenge. So you really learn some valuable skills by doing this, and my workplace really understood that. So it was quite easy for me to leave and come back with that security that they'll keep my job open for me.
That's great. So you'll be heading back to your old position soon, but hopefully you have some time off in between. So I think, yeah, so you'll be heading back to that position very shortly. Okay, well, we don't have any questions coming in.
Yeah.
So I would encourage anyone who's listening live, if you do have anything, do please post them, whatever you want to know about volunteering generally, or specifically about volunteering as a health professional, or indeed anything maybe about Myanmar. Do feel free to ask them using the Q&A function. Maybe I'll just touch on, again, when we do recruitment events, typically people are very interested to know how volunteers are supported by VSO. So I can maybe just touch on a little bit about the support that VSO offers, and then maybe Jenny, you could comment on your specific experiences. So in terms of so how volunteering works, so financial support specifically, VSO covers the cost of flights and visas, and accommodation is arranged for volunteers while they're overseas, as Jenny just mentioned. Volunteers also receive a living allowance whilst they're overseas, which is equivalent, which obviously varies on the location, but is equivalent to what a local professional of equivalent level would receive there. So the idea being that you shouldn't be, out of pocket for volunteering, and it's not obviously not for profit, not for gain is the principle behind that. In terms of Jenny, it might be just interesting just to comment on, while you were overseas in Myanmar, did was the support you received adequate? Did you feel that if you'd had any problems, there were people that you could go to in terms of other volunteers, or maybe the country office? You can hear me okay?
I'm really sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. It looked a little like you were struggling there. Is this any better? No problem. Yeah, so it sounds like Jenny is struggling to hear us. So we'll maybe go back to this towards the end, or we can post it on the response on the event page after the event. Okay, so still no questions.
I don't know. Maybe you can write the question.
Yeah, so I will. Let's see if we can put it in our chat function. So Jenny,
yes.
I'm just writing. Could you comment on the support that you had in VSO in Myanmar from VSO? Let's see if this is any better. So, Jenny, I don't know whether you can hear me or you were able to read the comment that I just posted. It doesn't look like you could, which is a shame. We'll give it another moment or so to see if it improves, but no.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting anything. I can't hear anything you're saying. I'm so sorry.
No, not a problem. The technology, or we always have challenges with these kind of forums, so not to worry at all. So to any viewers who hopefully can hear me, if you have any questions, please do pose them now. We may, because of the technical difficulties, have to finish up slightly earlier than we anticipated. But I will post on the event page afterwards that if anyone does have questions that they weren't able to pose during this session, to please do so using that event page forum, and we'll get back to you that way. So I'll give it just half a minute longer, just in case Jenny can hear me, or if anyone has any questions. But otherwise, as I said, we may have to finish up a little bit earlier than anticipated. Okay, well, not to worry. It's a shame we have had some probably just internet issues, which does happen. We will try to run another one of these events again soon. And as I said, if anyone does have questions that you weren't able to ask today, please post on the event page, and we will get back to you. And hopefully, if there are questions specifically for Jenny, we can connect post the event and get Jenny's obviously first-hand experiences from her time in Myanmar. So thank you very much, Jenny, if you can hear me, which you probably can't. Well, I would just like to say, oh yeah, big thank you to Jenny, and also to Sam, who was very prepared to join us today, but obviously was unable to at the last moment. And thank you to anyone who's viewed live. As I mentioned, we will try to run these sorts of events more regularly, hopefully with better internet access in the future. Actually, we've just had a question pop in from Richard Hayes. I don't know whether Jenny can hear me or can see the question now, but Richard is saying that he's actually going out to Myanmar in July, working as an organisation development advisor with a women's group in Yangon. And this question is specifically for Jenny. It's around what she thinks are the biggest differences that he'll notice between the needs of girls and women. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Jenny can see or hear that. I'll just confirm. Jenny, can you hear us at all? See the question?
I heard the differences between.
So yes, so Richard would just like to know if you can manage to answer with the connectivity issues.
I'm sorry, some sort of question about women and girls?
Yes, so the needs of women and girls in Myanmar. Sorry, Jenny, don't worry, not to worry at all. Richard, I really do apologise that we're not able to answer your question directly now, but we will absolutely follow up with the response on the event page afterwards. And that's great that you're going out to Myanmar next month. Best of luck with that, but we will get a response to your specific question posted on the event page, and thank you for posing it. So I'll just 30 seconds more just to see if there's another question that potentially I can answer directly, and then we will close off because of the technical difficulties.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, it seems to be back now. Please ask me that question.
Oh, great. Well, that's good news. So Richard has posed a question. He's actually going to Myanmar next month as an organisation development advisor with a women's group in Yangon. Okay. And he would like to know what you think are the biggest differences that he'll notice between the needs of women and girls.
Women and girls. Okay, so he's going to Yangon and he's working in a development program. Okay, so I think the cultural difference is quite large. So the way that women and men interact is very traditional, extremely traditional. Women are very quiet, and I think there is a lot of gender-based violence and a lot of issues around women, but that are not being addressed at the moment. From my experience, you know, girls do not go out, they do not drink alcohol. The men can pretty much do whatever they want, but women are very much stay-at-home mothers. And although there are some very highly educated women that I've worked with that are professors and doctors, the difference is really quite significant.
Yeah, that does sound like that's hopefully good insights for Richard.
I don't know if that answers your question, sorry.
No, I think hopefully that's some good insights for Richard, you know, obviously from you having been there and experienced it firsthand. Richard, if there was anything else that you wanted to know specifically, do feel free to ask. Or again, you know, if you think of it afterwards, you can contact us after the event. So thanks, Jenny. That's great that you were able to hopefully still hear me.
I mean, I would also like to add that, you know, recently in Myanmar, we've got a new president.
Yeah. And do you see things changing as a result of that, or is there a feeling that things will change? Okay, it looks like we've lost Jenny again. But I'm really pleased that at this stage that we were at least able to pose and answer one question. So Richard, thanks so much for that. We will, as I said, if there's anything else you wanted to specifically follow up on, please do so. If there are any other questions, please do pose them in the next few seconds, because I think we're having this ongoing technical issue, which unfortunately looks like Jenny can't hear us. Yeah, so anything else? Otherwise, I would just say, if anyone is specifically, interested in potentially finding out more about volunteering, or indeed actually applying to volunteer, the best thing to do is to go to our website, so vsointernational.org/volunteer, is obviously all the information, all the content on volunteering. And there you can find out more about our opportunities for professionals, so experienced professionals, to go and volunteer their skills, as Jenny has done and as Richard is about to. And also, if you're aged between 18 to 25 and interested in going overseas on the International Citizen Service, you can access all the information through the VSO website. Just on ICS actually, as well as the opportunities for people to volunteer aged between 18 to 25. We also look for team leaders for those programs. So that's, obviously leading a group of young people on a program towards a specific development objective. And for those roles, we look for people aged between 23 and 35 with some experience of leading people and motivating groups of people. So all that information is on the website. You could also feel free to email us at inquiry@vsointernational.org. Sign up for our newsletter, where we post the latest vacancies and content around sort of volunteer stories, so people like Jenny. And you can also give us a call. The number is on the website. So yes, please do get in touch if you're interested. We'd love to hear from you. And I think we'll close now. But just thank you so much, Jenny, if you can hear us. Thank you for persevering.
I can hear you now, yes.
Oh, right, I'm glad. Thank you so much. Oh, actually, just at the 11th hour as well, we've had another question posted. And this is, okay, so this might have been specific. This lady may have joined specifically because she was expecting to see Sam, because she's a midwife. And she is, so Sophia is saying that she doesn't see any roles advertised at the moment. And does this mean that we don't need midwives? Well, I can answer this. So as we've mentioned a couple of times, health is a really big sort of focus area of what we do. And within that, as indeed Jenny touched on, another sort of focus within that area is maternal and newborn health, obviously, for which midwifery skills are absolutely fundamental. So even if you don't see specific opportunities on the website at the moment, we do, you know, it is a very high demand area, skills that we really value. So if you're specific, you know, if you've decided that volunteering is something that you'd be you know, that you really want to do, you may notice on our website, on the volunteer section, in the list of vacancies, we have what are known as general or speculative applications, and that's really, it's not applying for a specific position in a specific country, but it's basically applying to be a midwife, or indeed another profession with VSO. So I'd encourage you, Sophia, to fill out that application form, which then obviously puts you on our radar so that we can get in touch when specific opportunities that would suit you come up. Also, as I mentioned before, do sign up for our newsletter, which you can access on the website as well. We post all the latest vacancies in the newsletter, and yeah, do keep checking the website as well. Hopefully that answers your question, and we have had another one as well, so it's all coming in at the end, and hopefully we still have connectivity. So this, Jenny, is a question directed at you, so hopefully you can hear this, and it's a question around what is the biggest highlight and the biggest challenge of your placement. So yeah, over the last 9 months in Myanmar.
Yeah,
what,
I hear you. Yeah,
great,
that's
wonderful.
okay. So my biggest highlight and my biggest challenges. So I'll start with the challenges. So basically, when you go on a VSO placement, you have to be independent, and sometimes it can feel a little bit like out there, and you're not really sure where to start, and there seems so many things to improve, and you have to just focus on one at a time. So that can be a challenge at first. But one of the highlights is that when you complete it and you've done it, and you look back at what you've done and how much you've achieved, you realize that you've achieved far more than you first thought that you ever could. Another challenge of being in a different country and a different culture, sometimes it can be tough to feel like the odd one out. I can guarantee that in Myanmar, everyone is so friendly, it's so kind, so caring. They will really keep you motivated just because they want to help you so much. They want to learn, they're eager. So I found it a little bit challenging at first because you stand out, but actually their attitude motivates you to do the best that you can. And then, of course, the climate and the language can be a challenge. So be prepared that everything will take twice as long to explain or twice as long to get across. But if you're just patient, take your time, eventually it will all come out right in the end. Yeah. And then my main highlight living in Myanmar has been learning about different ways of living and different cultures, and actually learn a lot about yourself by taking yourself out of your own culture, being put into perhaps out of your comfort zone. You learn an awful lot about yourself, which is really wonderful, and meeting inspirational people as well, really inspiring health professionals that work so hard for very little wages and very little benefit to themselves, and the reason that they do it is because they want to help and save lives, which is really, you don't get to see it so blatantly or so obviously perhaps as before. But yeah, it's been a really inspirational place, and yeah, that's my main highlight. many of them.
That's great, Jenny, thank you. It does sound like you had a wonderful time, despite obviously some obvious, some challenges, but seem fairly common actually across lots of volunteers who we hear from when they return home. So thank you very much. We are at 1 o'clock now. Obviously the questions have come in quite late, so I'll give it maybe 10 seconds just to see if anyone has the last question. But otherwise, I do apologise for the technical difficulties we have had today that have made it a little bit disjointed. But hopefully, if there were any burning questions, you have had the opportunity to ask them. And any follow-up, obviously, we can do post the event. So, yeah, thank you so much, Jenny. We should maybe quit while we're ahead, and you can still hear us. So yeah, thank you so much for your time, and for joining us literally a day after landing back in the country. We really appreciate it. Yeah, and to anyone who's joined, thank you for joining. Thanks for persevering with us through the difficulties. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll obviously let you know when we're running future events like this. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Bye.